talked to a Christian conservative friend, large group. Don't worry, they are my friends. I tried to open up the last two topics that we made, and I was almost labeled as a heretic.
Yeah. Yeah, we have to know how to remain silent with other people, not just stay silent. And we have to be conscious of why are we saying something, and what are our words going to do? Are we going to provoke people, have arguments? Most of the time, there's not much point in talking about these things with other people, unless there is the right circumstance, somehow, some way. Maybe a person is suffering a lot and they're looking for the light. But otherwise, if you tell people in like a religious group, they're not open, right? Knock and the door shall open, right? Ask and you shall find. If someone isn't asking, better to be silent. Everyone has the right to choose what they want to believe, what they want to study. So we have a saying, you pay karma for what you do, and you pay karma for what you don't do. So sometimes we create problems by being silent, and sometimes we create problems when we talk. So we have to know when to speak and when not to speak, you know.
Yeah.
The two lines of life. Any idea what the two lines of life are? This one, right? That we see everywhere. Two lines of life. We'll be studying. And the level of being. So, what is our level of being? Right? We all have a different level of being. Right? Each one of us, in certain aspects of our life, we're at a certain level, and maybe a low level. Some of us are at a high level. But it's not simple. Like we said, we're multidimensional. So we have different levels in different parts of ourselves, different parts of our being. I'll read some of Master Samael's words related to this. And it starts with a question, a reflective or meditative question. I ask all those present here, are we happy with what we are? Which of you truly feels happy in the fullest sense of the word? Which one of you feels happy? We must be honest, very honest. None of us enjoys true happiness. None of us can say that we live in peace. None of us can say, I live in an oasis of bliss. We have terrible worries, disappointments, anxieties, bitterness. We suffer a lot, and our heart beats tremendously with intensity. So this points to why we're here, right? We wouldn't be here if we were looking for the light. We were looking for some kind of happiness. Some kind of true fulfillment. We can be happy, right? We can say, oh, I'm pretty happy today, right? But is it true happiness? Usually it fades. Right? Later on, we're in a mood where we have some problem, something happens. So it's not a lasting, blissful, ecstatic, profound happiness, right? We need to get out of this mud we find ourselves in. We really need to change radically. And this would only be possible if we appeal to the transcendental and transcendent powers of the vertical. So this topic is about two lines of life. One is vertical, and one is horizontal. You asked, why aren't people interested in these topics, or why they only focus on the physical body? This is the physical body, in simple terms, and this is the spirit. Most people are walking this path. not aware of this path. So we'll look at that more. But the emphasis here is, and the teaching here is, we need to walk a vertical path now. Not think about tomorrow, not think about next year, not about where we're going to be in the future, but walk here and now, right? More about the present moment. When one who marches along the horizontal and remembers one's own being, when one asks, who am I? Where do I come from? Where am I going? What is the purpose of existence? Undoubtedly, one starts entering the vertical path, which is the path of revolution, the path that leads to the superhuman, or the Superman, right? From the comic books, Superman, right? This imagination from the person who created Superman really does come from a pure reality within us. Right? As we discussed the other day, there is the animal kingdom, then we are humans, and then we are sort of God humans, or we are supposed to reach that level, like a Superman, right? And you can sort of be a Superman already when you go into the astral. You have awakened consciousness from moment to moment. You can fly and know any knowledge that you want. You know, imagine that's how the masters live. They really live like superhuman people. You know, they have power over the elements. If they want to move the winds, stop the rain, put fire on somewhere, you know. They have that, right? And they're awake while their physical body sleeps. They are communing with angels, with other masters, and they fly and they know directly the mysteries of the universe, directly. Right? They don't read any book, they don't look through science magazines, anything like this. They don't go to universities. They're truly men of knowledge, or what we're calling it here, a superhuman. The intellectual animal, which is us, we're not actually humans, we're more like animals, but with an intellect, right? Intellectual animal really is nothing more than a bridge between the inferior animal and the superhuman. We need to become true kings and queens of creation, masters of ourselves. So in this state, we are more on a bridge. We're not quite human yet, right? Like Pinocchio. He's not a real boy, right? Until he's very honest. Thus, it is urgent to get on the vertical path that we carry within ourselves, here and now. The time has come for the great revolution, the psychological revolution, the revolution of our soul. Gnostic brothers and sisters, I invite you to reflect on the superhuman. I invite you to think about total change. I invite you to enter that vertical revolutionary path that will lead you inevitably towards the final liberation. You are not happy, I know, and you will not be happy until you march firmly on the vertical path. You will not be happy until you reach the heights of the superhuman. You will not be happy as long as you do not free your consciousness from the painful mud of this world. You will not be happy as long as you do not experience that which is the reality, that which is not of time, that which is the truth. So this vertical is the path that is not of time. There is no time. And that's where we can realize ourselves. So we have this diagram. There's a lot here to discuss. 2 lines of life. We'll start here, the horizontal line of time. Okay. So we're all born in time, a moment in time. And we live our life, we grow up, we have school, we have career, we have relationships, and eventually we die, right? Birth and death, time. This is where the ego lives. This is where the ego thrives. This is what the ego identifies with. Time. The personality develops, right? This is where we look after our physical body, our house, our job, everything like that. This is what the ego loves, okay? And the past is simply memory. We believe it's real, but it's more of a illusory memory. And the future is more of an idea in the mind. So, the problem here is that we are not aware of this aspect of our being within us because we're too identified with the past. We're so caught up in the past. Me, myself, my story, my very sad life story, my very happy life story. It doesn't matter what kind of story it is, it's a story. Right? It's not real, it's not you, it's not your true identity. It's just this temporary person. Right? My name is Jean. Jean will die one day. Right? Just nothing, right? And we're not aware of this vertical because we're also the ego is so focused on the future, on security, having a pension, saving for, to make sure that we're always healthy, to hold on to all of our possessions, to be so attached to the material world, so worried about our family all the time, and so preoccupied with the future, right? So past and future, these things solidify the ego. They keep the ego intact. The ego is always in the past or future, or always based in the past or future. Even if the ego is active in the present moment, it's usually acting from a conditioned part of itself. So past, future, horizontal. Now, within each person, we have a line, a vertical line. It has nothing to do with the past or the future. It's all about this present moment, here and now. And usually, this line is, in most people, a bit low. It's lower. Right? It's down here. And what does that look like when the line is down? Right? Looks like this. Right? The upside down cross. Right? The Antichrist. Okay? This means dissension. The Antichrist, meaning the antithesis, the opposite of the Christ. It means ego, selfishness. Okay? Or the hells, we could say. So this Antichrist exists within us. This is our normal level of being, actually, for most people. This is also symbolized by the upside down pentagram. Right? The upright pentagram shows the man ascending, flying upwards. And this pentagram with the horns, right? The goat horns, shows that man is going down. So this line of being also has to be combined with the horizontal. We're not saying that this horizontal line of time is bad. They need to be in harmony with each other. Right? So we're not necessarily saying that, oh, we need to go up and become like angels. And of course, we're not saying we should go down and be like demons. Because if we try to go up, we might be able to achieve that for some time. But usually, we'll go back down, right? This is the duality of existence. Good and bad. Good and evil. Right? Angels, in actual angels can be angels for some time, but later on they can fall and become demons. In the same way, demons can also renounce and redeem themselves and become angels too. So in the heavens and hells, actually, there's always this movement between angels and demons. This is symbolic of what we go through in life. We're always trying to be good, but then something bad happens, or we lose hope, we lose faith, and we become bad, something like this. Our conscience. We all have, like in cartoons, right? We all have a little demon and an angel always talking to us. So, Gnosis is more about the middle way, or you could call it the razor's edge, or the narrow path, right, as taught by Jesus. Narrow path. This is the wide path, right, of good and evil. But the narrow path is about really trying to understand ourselves, self-knowledge, comprehend who we are, comprehend our ego, comprehend the state of our existence, comprehend our level of being. If we comprehend it, then we have a better chance to understand ourselves, to control ourselves. Right? So this Gnostic cross here, it's also coincidentally like when you aim down a gun, right? And it has to be perfectly aimed, right? When you're trying to dissolve the ego, if you aim off, right? Oh, I'm trying to be so good. I want to be a very good student, a Gnostic student, a very good virtuous person. I want to be a very good religious person. You're not quite aiming very well because you're still acting from ego, right? Of course, in the same way, if you like evil, you like to do bad things, you're not going to quite understand yourself too. True comprehension comes from this middle way of detaching from the ego, detaching from good and evil, and observing ourselves without the judgment of good and bad. But the thing is also, when you're detached from this, you can just be a little bit more up. You have freedom to choose to be good, right? Which is symbolized by the cross, right? It's not in the middle, but it's just a little bit higher. It's not right at the top, it's just a little bit higher here. Right? Ascension, Christ, sacrifice. The thing is, we have this Christ teaching. You want to go to the Christ, the Antichrist will come first. Right? Before the Christ appears the Antichrist. Right? Before Jesus ascended, he had to talk to the devil, right? So when you want to do good or you want to become more conscious, how can you become more conscious without first seeing the ego, without first seeing the unconsciousness? That's impossible. You have to understand why you are not conscious. So then we have to descend, right? Not fall. There's a difference between falling and descending. Right? Descending just means you are observing the unconsciousness. Falling means you unconsciously fall into it. You're not aware. Our level of being attracts our circumstances. Like we were discussing before, the level of being of a prostitute is a different level of being to a virgin. A prostitute will attract certain things in her life, certain circumstances in her life. She will have a certain way of being about her. The way she talks, the way she acts, the way she is. Her circumstances in life will be different. A virgin has a different level of being. She'll attract a different way of life, a different way of being. Right? She'll have different circumstances. Her life might seem a little more innocent, right? So in many ways, we have different levels of being. Like this, for example, some people's level of being is in terms of honesty. If a person is dishonest, then they're a bit more down on their vertical path, right? However, if that person starts to change, starts to practice, starts to make effort to be an honest person, to say words honestly of what they think, what they feel, and they start to be more honest with themselves, then their level of being starts to go up a little bit, right? They become more honest. So all of our virtues, all of our psychological aspects, we attract those who are alike, attract those who are like us. If we change, we attract different people. Right? We'll attract different circumstances, especially if that change is a lot. If we change a lot, it's radical. So, will you walk the horizontal path or the vertical path? A horizontal path looks like just focusing on our career, our university, our studies, maybe also just making money, material things, right? It's the material way of life, materialism. The vertical path is how much can I change? Right? We discussed it last week, right? What is the purpose of life? The purpose is to change. The purpose is to awaken our consciousness. And you can be born and die, but make no progress in the vertical, right? We're all born at a certain level of being, with a certain level of knowledge, a certain level of gnosis, right? And we can see this, we can observe this too, even in children or when they become teenagers. You can see that pretty much regardless of the parents' teaching, each soul is entirely an individual. And they come here into this life with their certain level of being, their certain egos, and that's how they are. If they don't change, if they don't have any spirituality about themselves, if they don't ask who they are, what kind of person am I supposed to be, etc., then they don't change. They just stay the same. You can see this in some people. If you know people from school and then you meet them like 10 or 20 years, and sometimes you can see they haven't changed at all. Still the same person, right? But you might meet other people and say, wow, this person has really changed, has really matured, really become who they're meant to be. So walking the vertical path, we might think, okay, how many practices do I need to do? How many Gnostic practices? How many things in the future do I need to do? But walking the vertical path starts with the present moment, right? Here and now. Here and now. Not in the past, right? And you can do this as a practice. You can reflect on all of your past, all of your memory, right? And then start to sense also your ideas about the future and be present. And being present starts with like the key of soul, right? Become aware of your thoughts, become aware of your emotions. Maybe listen to the sounds around you, become conscious in the physical world. What does your physical body feel like? And then, once we start becoming more in the present moment, we have more chance to see and observe without being so overwhelmed by the mind, right? So a quote by Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now, a great book, all about the present moment. To the ego, the present moment hardly exists. It just doesn't exist for the ego. Only past and future are considered important. And, people will sometimes argue about that, especially if they have a lot of problems, have a lot of challenges, right? People will say, but how can I live? How can I look after my family? Or how can I solve these problems if I don't focus on the future, right? They're so worried about things. Like, no, I don't have time for the present moment, right? Which is a funny saying. I don't have time for the present moment, right? Actually, you're full of time, right? You need to get out of time. We can only really solve our problems when we're not focused on the future, right? On the worries of things. Right? There's somewhere in the Bible, I can't remember the exact quote, but don't worry about the past. It basically says, don't worry about the past, don't worry about the future, don't worry about what you're going to wear, don't worry about what things you're going to eat, because life will provide these things for you. Right? So when we are actually walking this vertical path, it's symbolized by the Jacob's ladder, climbing the ladders. The Jacob's ladder is also symbolic of the 33 vertebrae. 33 is a very significant and sacred number. We have 33 vertebrae in our spinal column. So the spinal column also relates to the transmutation of the sexual energy. The sexual energy is retained and transmuted. It should go inwards and upwards. When it is retained properly and transmuted, the semen, we would say semen in women and sperm in men, it is retained, and then this seminal energy, the energy of that sexual energy, rises up the spine very slowly, according to our degrees of consciousness, according to the efforts that we make. It will go up slowly. We climb up. If we fall a little bit, if we're not succeeding in sexual practices, then we fall a little bit. So it's always a struggle, going up, down, up, down. It's a very difficult struggle. So Jacob's ladder, symbolized here in this painting. People trying to ascend to heaven. But as you can see, people are walking there. However, little demons, right? Little egos, poking, temptations, go back into identification of life, into the suffering, into the mud of existence. And some people are falling, right? Going up, going down, up and down, a cycle of suffering. It symbolizes the difficulty of the path. So again, as we said before, there's always movement in the heavens and hells. Demons can renounce evil and work to become angels. And the angels can make mistakes and fall into evil. There are certain angels and demons who some people today think that they're angels, but actually that actual angel fell a long time ago. Right? Actually, Master Samael is one of them. Sometimes people say, oh, Samael is known as a devil or a demon. Actually, in different religions and traditions, sometimes he's known as an angel, sometimes known as a devil, a demon. But Master Samael, because he was not born with that name, we all have a particular name, a real name, right? My mother and father named me Jean, but I have a real name, right? That I can't tell it, we can't tell anyone unless we're meant to. Right? Master Samael was meant to. He told people his real name and what it means. And that his being, his real being, right, not his person, his horizontal person, but his vertical being, was actually fallen. He was a fallen angel from a long time ago. And in his most recent existence, he finally made the efforts to awaken, to ascend and go up again, like we all need to do. So, this represents the struggle of the human soul. Demons can repent, and angels can fall into error. So this is why, we can go up and down, up and down. If we are going up, we really have to understand vigilance, to always be aware, right? To always be in self-remembrance, self-observation. Always be awake and committed to this present moment, so that we don't get attacked, right? We might make efforts for 1 week, and we might become really, we feel so happy and we feel so present. But then the next day, if we just wake up and we totally forget ourselves, we can fall into, old habits, or we just become unconscious. Our mind becomes so mundane and dull. So we need to remain in vigilance, humility, right? Not to have pride. I think if angels fall, maybe perhaps one of the biggest errors or sins, right? Sin means error, another translation, is pride too, right? Thinking you're so good, or, something like that. So vigilance, humility, and constant self-examination are crucial to the path of awakening. So a very significant symbol, the Jacob's ladder. Actually, I'll share an astral experience of this Jacob's ladder. This was maybe 3 years ago now. I had a selenite crystal. And I wanted to know, because in Gnosis, there is no teaching about crystals. We work with a lot of things. We study certain elements, gold, silver, metals. They're like the best elements. But crystals, especially in like New Age spirituality, everyone loves crystals, right? But generally, they're not taught, and there's a reason for that. Because crystals are related to the mineral kingdom. So remember, we have the human kingdom, the animal kingdom, the vegetable kingdom, a very powerful kingdom, like aloe vera and trees, roses. Actually, if you have clairvoyance, you can see certain elementals that can help you, heal you, and teach you. And then minerals. So minerals are the lowest level of consciousness here. So it's actually related to the hells, the lower hells. Right? So in this experience, before I went to sleep, I meditated with this crystal. I wanted to know what are crystals all about, especially the selenite. So as I go to sleep in my physical body, I then wake up in the astral. And I wake up in like a cosmic place. I look up and there's the cosmos above me. And I'm in a realm of, I'm stood on the whole floor is all made of crystals. Right? And my consciousness is awake. I know that I'm sleeping in bed and I'm totally aware of myself, self-aware and aware of where I am. Right? I'm not dreaming. This is an astral experience. And I remember my purpose of, I want to investigate this world now. Right? I've put my consciousness, related it with this selenite crystal. So after that, while I'm there, I walk. There's a path. So I walk along the path. And I come into a huge cave, not a small cave, but a big cave, very big, with many people there, maybe in the hundreds of thousands or millions, I don't know. It went on, it was very big. Caves are also related to these subconscious parts of the mind, or the hell part of the mind. So inside that cave, there was a party, like a DJ party, people dancing. People were dressed very nice. People were happy. People were very happy. People were smoking. Women were dressed very promiscuous, revealing. People were kissing each other, anyone just kissing anyone. And people were taking drugs. So I knew then that I was in a mineral kingdom, or I was in a hell. I was in hell. I'm visiting hell. And I can see that people are happy in hell. Happy, They have the vices, they have friends. Everyone enjoys the smoking, drinking, partying. And it's like this. I was walking a path. This is me walking. I'm not exactly in the hell. This is the big party here. Lots of people. On the left side, right? If you've studied some occultism, this is quite significant because the left-hand path, you know, is the path of black magicians or black magic. There wasn't anyone here on the right hand, just an empty place. But here, millions of people partying and happy. So this is really significant. You know, we can know the hells for ourselves. We can know demons for ourselves. Not that we become like them or follow them, but there's a master, Dante. You know, Dante's Inferno. He wrote about the Divine Comedy, but he was a real initiate, and he had these experiences and visited the hells to study them, to understand human suffering and unconsciousness. So I'm walking here, lots of people. At the end of the place, there were stairs going up. And in this dark cave, there was a sunny place. Blue sky, clouds. Very tall stairs. Jacob's ladder, right? And I see just 2 or 3 people walking up there. So when people are tired of hell, tired of this mundane existence, temporary pleasures, some people make efforts to get out. And I'm walking up, there's only a few people walking up. And once I get to the top, there is a hallway, and there's windows on the sides. And on the windows, it's just blue sky. It's just we're in the sky, right? We're in sort of the heavens. And there's only a few people walking. And so, you know, I find it interesting. I'm walking, and there's a woman next to me walking as well. But she's crying. She starts crying. She's finding it difficult, something difficult to walk. And her emotions get so intense, she becomes so absorbed in some kind of negativity that she stops walking, and she goes to one of the windows and goes out of the window, and she's about to jump. We're in the astral, but it's like she's committing suicide. She's going to jump and go back down, right? And she's really being tempted to jump. She might jump. In the astral, like I said the other day, the astral is also a very emotional place. It's the emotional world of the soul. And, you know, I stopped and I'm observing her. And she's shaking, and her whole aura is changing, and she's becoming like black, and she's starting to look like a demon. She's having scars all over her face and blood, and she's crying, and she's suffering so much, and she's struggling. And she really, it's very emotional what's happening. And I feel a lot for her, and I'm sending her telepathically. You can do it. It's okay. You know, don't jump. It's okay. Believe in yourself. You can do it. You can do it. Right? And there's other people there, you know, watching and wishing that she doesn't fall into the abyss, back into the hell. Right? Eventually, after so much struggle, she doesn't jump. She comes back, and she gets back on the path. And in this experience, it might not sound like a lot, but I'm crying too. I'm even wiping my tears. I'm surprised that, wow, I'm crying in the astral, because I felt what she went through, that internal struggle to stay on the path and to have perseverance and strength. And I asked her, what happened? Why did you want to jump? And she said, it's to do with my addiction of smoking. I'm struggling with quitting this vice. Right? So it's symbolic of an actual soul who is trying to change. And of course, an addiction of smoking is a strong one, right? So in the physical world, of course, she's finding it difficult, right? She's stopping smoking. You know, it's not the addiction to cigarettes that's the bad thing. It's not that, right? Personally, I can say, I've smoked cigarettes before. I don't find any addictive quality to it. I can smoke cigarettes all day today and I won't crave one tomorrow. Honestly. The addiction is formed when someone is not facing certain unconsciousness. They're not facing the ego, and they are covering pain and unconsciousness in themselves. And so it's not exactly the smoking, but it's the struggle to face all of those things that will resurface now. Because as we saw, ego affects the mind, the body, right? Too, the physical body. Ego is the reason why we have physical pain. So if a person goes through a lot of trauma and a lot of pain, if they smoke or drink or any kind of addiction, even mobile phones, you know, anything that alters our natural brain chemistry, our hormones, then if we start to cover it with smoking or anything, those hormones and that pain is suppressed into the body. If that person suddenly stops their negative habits, of course those things are going to come up again. We have to face them. But the longer we have been suppressing it, the harder it is to face it. But as long as you have faith, you have strength and force, you can face it, right? And so this woman was okay again. She had some scars, but she looked okay. Her aura was fine, and she kept walking again. So that's my little experience about Jacob's ladder. So looking at the meditation, the 8 steps of yoga, right? Because we only looked at 2 of them. So we looked at the last 2. We studied more about the first 2, which is not exactly formal meditation, but more about perseverance, discipline, better moral choices in life for ourselves. The next one, we're looking at Asana and Pranayama. So Asana is to do with posture and relaxation, but we're going to look into that more. And we have the others that we'll still continue to look at. But all of them are necessary for good, healthy, a solid foundation for meditation. Okay, so from 3 to 8 is really the most practical. 1 and 2 is more like ethics and morality and discipline and self-observation. So asana, body posture. As we saw, you can meditate in any position that you like. Better to choose one that you will stay with the whole time. Some people cross their legs, but it's just not necessary. You can sit like this. Just make sure that your spine is straight and relaxed. So asana, the general things for body posture and this aspect of yoga: steadiness, stability, and firmness. To be strong and balanced in our body. If we're meditating and we're just feeling we're half-hearted, right, and we're just like meditating like that, it's not conducive. It's not good for meditation. So we want to be stable, strong, and balanced. Better to be in one position. Ideally, not to move the physical body while we meditate, but also not to be too forceful, because we also want ease and comfort. We want to be comfortable and relaxed without straining any discomfort. We don't want to be like, I'm meditating, right? We need to be relaxed. Effortlessness, a state where the body is alert, but without straining. Alert. Meditation, it's sometimes described meditation as if you see a cat and it's about to pounce, right? If you've ever seen a cat, it's about to pounce it's watching a fly or something. Meditation should always be like that, totally alert, not sleepy. And you're just about to pounce, but you never pounce. You're always just watching, like that. Alert, but without straining, and allowing the pose to be held with ease. There's also sort of a body posture for the mind too. It's taught, focus on the infinite. Focus on, don't have limitation. Basically be open-minded. Be open-minded that you can develop yourself in a limitless way. And don't have self-limiting thoughts like, I'll do this for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, or maybe it's going to help. No, really focus on the possibility of true transformation. So the mind should be directed towards the infinite. Transcend physical limitations of the body. Connect beyond physical form. So although the posture is important, ultimately we want to go beyond the physical body, physicality. We want to be aware, but eventually we become so still, we sort of transcend the body. We don't fall below the sense of the body. Falling below the sense of the body is like sleep. When you go to sleep, you forget about the body. It's not falling below, it's more like rising above. And to be aware of the breath too. And our posture should allow calm, deep, steady breathing, supporting the mind and the physical posture. Okay. So, number 4 here, focus on the infinite. A little quote by the Dalai Lama. It is vital to understand and develop the conviction that consciousness has the potential to increase to an infinite degree. Sometimes we say, I can awaken my consciousness like this, I can see myself being like this, but really we can develop to an infinite degree. We can develop more than we can think of, than we can imagine, if we believe that, if we understand that. Okay, and pranayama, harnessing and balancing life force, relates to sexual transmutation. Right? We will do a lecture on the chakras, on the kundalini as well. This is the kundalini, which is symbolized by a snake, a sleeping snake at the base of our spine. We all have this at the base of our spine. Coiling, right? Not awake. But as we learn to transmute the energy and we awaken the chakras, there are many egos inside our spine. As each ego is transcended, dissolved, destroyed, then we liberate our consciousness and we start to balance and purify our chakras. We have a whole lecture for this, but generally, the root chakra is all about our physical world, material world, animal world. This chakra is to do with our sexuality, our pleasures. This one is to do with our personal power, our willpower. This one is the heart chakra. We're going to do a practice with the heart today. It's a good one to help us to develop our intuition. Right? Because we can listen to all of these lectures, but if we aren't listening with intuition, it's harder to comprehend. This one is the throat. It's to do with our self-expression. And the third eye, the awakened imagination or clairvoyance. And this is the crown chakra at the top. So pranayama. The inhalation should be smooth, deep, and fill the lungs completely, but without straining yourself. And filling the whole middle and upper parts of the lungs. And also the stomach, right? The whole chest. Exhalation should be comfortable and relaxed without strain or discomfort. And retention. When you inhale, you should retain the breath just a little bit. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, depending on the pranayama practice you're doing. But one of the best pranayama is inhale, retain for like 30 seconds, and exhale. And again, focus on the infinite or focus on God. Bandha is a part of pranayama. it's basically a teaching that our energy should be hermetically locked, right? Don't identify with the world. Don't focus on the world. Focus on your internal world, on the divine, on the infinite part of yourself. This allows the prana to flow inwards and upwards, right? Instead of outwards and downwards. And for this, a chaste mind and heart is needed. A mind and heart that is in chastity, purity. Right? Banda, practically, and you can do it if you like, if you're struggling to control the energy, you know the muscle, the pelvic floor muscle, you can hold it tight, right? And let go. When you go for wee, when you go to the toilet, you let go of that, right? Sometimes in pranayama, you can squeeze it just a little bit and inhale and see the energy going upwards. It will give you more energy. But it's generally only something that needs to be done in the beginning when you're new to this practice. Eventually, the energy is controlled more psychically, right? Through comprehending lust, comprehending our animal nature. These lower three chakras are to do with more of the ego and our animal nature. When this is cleaned, these three awaken, and the heart is the center of that. So Kundalini awakens according to the merits of the heart. The heart, our true self, where we really sincerely change in a true way. If we do, if we get the heart right, and then these three will balance and the energy will rise accordingly. So, the first mantra, a very simple one, one that we can do as a group. Oh, so there are different mantras for each chakra, different ones, we'll see. But the mantra O, to do with the green chakra here, is to do with the heart chakra. So, mantras are very powerful. Sound is something quite important and significant. We don't usually think about it, but it's something non-physical. We can't see it. It's something that can affect our subtle energies more powerfully. So, as it said here, the spiritual vibrations or vibratory power of sound connects us to certain internal frequencies. Through the repetition of sacred mantras, we purify the mind and transform the subtle energies within the human organism, attuning ourselves to higher dimensions of consciousness. So, sound is really significant. Sound is how we receive our culture, we receive our teachings, how we receive everything. Sound is one of the most powerful ways people stay asleep, right? Especially through modern music. Music, if you look at the lyrics of most mainstream music, it's all about pain, it's all about attachment, it's all about violence, lust, right? And nothing necessarily wrong with it, but when people start listening to it all the time, they start to listen to it unconsciously, it has an effect, right? And it connects us to certain internal dimensions of consciousness. That's why I'm always playing classical music in the beginning, because Mozart, Beethoven, Chopin, all of the classical artists, the most significant ones, they were Gnostics. They were all part of secret societies, of Freemasonry, of all of these different, secret societies. So they are masters of music. As we saw before, our internal being has certain ray, a certain strength, you could say. Like some people are from a ray of art, a ray of music, a ray of science, the ray of love. Master Jesus, for example, is from the ray of love. So, these masters of music are really, really powerful. They give us the sounds of the soul. Beethoven, especially, he did the music of the spheres. So the tree of life, the kundalini that we saw, he did a song for each one of the spheres. It's very significant. And when you see it objectively, compared to modern music today, most mainstream music just has 4 chords, 4 notes, and they just play the same thing, repetition, mechanical. But if you really listen to classical music, it's an array of complexity, of true intelligence that most people today can't even... There's no composers today that can really make music on that level. Today people are still in awe and can't believe that people made music like that. Right? So just trying to describe or trying to demonstrate the power of sound. Yeah. So in the practice, we'll do a mantra together. O. O. Okay? Not U, that's a different mantra. Not U, but O. O. Okay? We're also going to, there's a nice instrument, an Indian instrument, one of the, I think maybe it is one of the oldest ancient instruments. And I'll play it out loud while we chant the mantra. So we'll do relaxation, we'll do some pranayama, right? And then I'll start the music and we'll chant for something like 15 minutes. And that is a concentration to chant the mantra together and really try to feel the subtle energies that go beyond the physical and help us to connect to the heart. If you want, while you're visualizing, you can see something like this, or just a green circle going this way, clockwise, like this. Should be going like that, rotating. Because usually our chakras are going this way and going down and out. But actually, they should be spinning this way. If you like, you don't have to visualize it. You can just concentrate more on the chakra. And while we're doing that, just focus and concentrate on the mantra and do it serenely, calmly. Try to relax the body. If you like, while you're chanting, if you feel a lot of energy coming and you feel a nice energy, peaceful energy, you can start doing it more quietly if you like, and you can even eventually do it mentally. So the practice, we won't do it today, we'll do it out loud mostly. But after we do the mantra, we'll have a meditation, right? We'll stop the music. The music will stop by itself, and then we'll have some meditation time. Just silence. Observe what you feel inside. Yeah. But if you want, you can continue doing it mentally. So when you're at home, because we live with other people, right? And sometimes it's... it is ultimately, eventually, superior to do these mantras mentally. However, in the beginning, we need more force, more... it's good for our body to hear and vibrate through the body. But yeah, if you're doing it at home and you can say it out loud, you can say it loud and eventually quieter and then mentally. So to demonstrate, it's like, oh, oh, and then quieter, oh, and you're becoming more still, more quiet, oh, oh, and might do it mentally. But here we'll do it out loud, together as a group. And this awakens intuition. Intuition. The silent voice of intuition. Right? We all have our own intuition. Even though we're not connected to our being, but the thing that we do have is intuition. It's our direct line to listen to the voice of God, listen to intuition, which doesn't speak with our thoughts, right? It doesn't speak with the voice of the ego, but it's a direct knowing that talks to us in the heart, and it's without confusion, it's without conflict. Okay, so we'll do that. 3 bells when I begin, 3 bells when I finish. When we begin, relaxation. You know the relaxation process now, right? Are you all comfortable with doing the relaxation? Going from the feet to the head, totally relaxing, right? Stable, relaxed. In the relaxation part, that's the part also to, you can stretch. If you have an itch, it's okay. But you're intending and preparing to be still. Mind still, body still. Sort of going beyond the body. And then I'll do 1 bell. And we will do pranayama. Further relaxation, preparing to go into concentration. And we'll start the mantra. Yeah. Oh. Usually in groups we find our own rhythm. We'll do it we'll find the right volume and the right steadiness. And then when the instrument finishes, we'll just go into pure meditation, pure awareness, stillness. So we're sort of going into another dimension, hopefully. So, starting with relaxation and then pranayama. Relaxing the body deeper and deeper, and going into pranayama. You can do the inhale and retain, or you can do the Hamsa, as we learned last week. And preparing for concentration, intending to only focus on the mantra. If thoughts come in, just come back to concentration. Focusing on the heart area. few masters say that chanting the mantras or the sacred vowels of the chakras is worth much more than reading all of the books on Gnosis or anything. If you can chant the mantras an hour a day, you're going to progress in awakening consciousness much more than you would read any book, than you would do with reading any books. It really awakens the internal faculties of the soul to really experience these teachings. Yeah. How was it? Yeah? Feel a bit different afterwards? Feel some energy? And especially combined with transmutation, alchemy. We've not had that lecture yet, but it really activates what is meant to be activated, when transmuting the energy. Yeah, we'll have the classes on more specific and instructive about sexual transmutation, which is really a huge part of experiencing these things. And when you're single, you just transmute the energy, you do pranayama, and if you can really stay away from, it's normal, right, that we, especially men, masturbation and all of this, right? But if you can really stop the orgasm, really stop transmuting your energy, and just wait a few days, 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month, you're going to feel totally different. And combine it with the meditation and mantras, you're going to start experiencing these things on a totally new level. And if we're in a couple, actually, when you're in a couple, you don't need, if you are engaging in love making, right, regularly enough, it depends on your, we all have a certain libido, right, our sexual energy. But if that is being sort of satisfied, if we're having sex at a good, regular basis, we don't need pranayama, because the energy is transmuted during the sexual act. But yes.
Practice that a lot of opposite sex easily gets attracted to you?
Yes, yeah. It's more likely that you will find a partner. And in these teachings, actually, we need that. It's not like Catholic priests where they renounce having a wife. Actually, it's better if they have a wife. However, but they don't have this teaching of the sexual energy. And essentially, it's the same. You don't actually do too much. You don't do too much different in the sexual act. You just stay away from the orgasm, which is a lot to. It's a totally new way of engaging in the sexual act. But if you can sacrifice, if you can sense yourself getting to 100%, right, the climax, the energy becomes short circuit. If you can stop at 70%, 80%, usually the man will just lose his erection. This is really how the Kundalini is awakened with a partner, right? Because a man it's like a battery. Man is positive, woman is negative. Combine those two together and you get electricity. It's very difficult in the beginning, but and probably if we're first practicing this, even if we have a partner, probably need some pranayama too, because the energy, the force for that energy to just go out is a lot. But especially with alchemy, sexual alchemy, you can really experience these teachings even faster too. But yeah, as a single, probably you have more chance to find a partner too, because women are very receptive and passive. They're more psychic, and they can look into the eyes of a man and they know their energy, right? If a man is depleted, he doesn't have sexual power, there's not much attraction. So of course, but of course, these teachings should not be used to seduce women too, right? Because some people do that, they retain their energy, they become attractive, they do, and they have this certain energy and aura, and they can use it to also seduce in a negative way. So it's all about love, because when we do alchemy, we might think that, oh, I need a lot of willpower and force to control the orgasm and the energy. But really, what we need is love. If we have love, then we can awaken the Kundalini. The Kundalini is also known as the Divine Mother within ourselves. It's also known as the Holy Spirit. Right? So that energy, if we want to retain it, it's the Divine Mother, and she only rises through purity. You can engage and try to do alchemy. There might be lust, that's okay, but if there is too much lust, then she doesn't align with it. The Divine Mother doesn't align with the animal way. So it's a gradual teaching, a gradual practice that takes a while. Takes, even for very advanced students, takes a while to master.
Some people easily get irritated when they practice celibacy.
Yeah. Celibacy is...
Easily get angry.
Original celibacy is related to sexual transmutation. But today some people see it more as retention, right? I'll just retain the energy, but it's not retaining. Because if we just retain it, then we have a reservoir, a water lake, but they don't know what to do with it. So they get irritated, like, oh, I'm stressed, and then they deplete the energy and they feel, relax. But they didn't know how to transmute it. The best way for that energy to express itself is through love. And it's through also dissolving the ego. We don't know what to do with that energy, we get irritated. But if it's directed to self-observation, to knowing the ego, and to experience love in our hearts, and enlightenment in our mind through meditation, sacrifice for others to help others, and everything like this, we become more active, we become more generally healthier, and the energy will go up without irritation. But yeah, we have more lectures. It's very hard to give these teachings without talking about the sexual aspect, so I just want to say a little bit. Yeah. Have any of you had any dreams? Remembered any dreams? Yeah. Yeah, difficult. I'll give you a mantra in the morning. So, we always dream. From the moment we go to sleep, we're actually already in dreams. The easiest dreams to remember are those just before we wake up. The thing is, we wake up and then we start getting identified with this physical body, not the dream body. And we start moving, start thinking about the life. We're not trained to not go into the physical world so fast when we wake up. So when we wake up, don't move. Don't move the physical body. Try not to move. If you move, it's okay. If you open your eyes, it's okay. But just close your eyes again, don't move. The more you move the physical body, the more you disconnect from the astral. Then, 2, ask. You can ask yourself, what did I dream? What did I dream? And be patient. Ask and be patient. Ask, what did I dream? And just wait. If nothing's coming and you're so sleepy, get up. And then just go into meditation. No fancy meditation, simple meditation, like you said, right? Just meditate and just wait. Eventually, some image will come. He's like, oh, I did have a dream. And then, when that image comes, just reflect on the image, more scenes will come. And then you might be surprised that, oh, that's where I went. This is what happened. More and more. Now, here, during this, if nothing comes, then mantra. Raom, Gaom. This mantra is known to be very powerful. Master Samael describes it like putting dynamite exploding into the memory, and extracting the memories. It's very powerful. I use it. I still use it almost every morning when I can't remember a dream. So why can't I remember my dreams? So I'll go into meditation, or while I'm still lying down, and I'll do Raum, Gaum, Raum, Gaum, and I keep doing it. Better to do it mentally, because we just woke up. We don't want to be in the physical too much, so stay internal, because we were already internal, right, before we woke up, just unconscious. So, Raum, Gaum, and eventually you try it, and you'll see some dream might come if you do it enough. And then once you have remembered enough, you can write it down in a journal. It helps again to do it again. Because when you remember it, you might not understand it. Probably won't understand, because the ego doesn't really want us to reflect. And then write it down. Probably might not understand it. But later on, when you're really awake and you look back and you think, I understand this. This might relate to this. It's your dream. You'll start getting intuition, right? Like the mantra we did, or the heart, and you can meditate on it too. What does this mean? Just ask the question in meditation. You might get some ideas. So yeah, sometimes I have a notebook to write, or you can, if you go on your phone, you can search Dream Dictionary or Dream Journal. Dream Dictionary sometimes help with interpretation, but you can ask me too, or Dream Journal too. There's some good Dream Journal apps. Every morning, just put a title, the date, and just say what the dream was. Do it in first person. So, I was walking down a street. Right? I am talking to John. We are going to the mountains, right? Do it in present tense. And then, before you go to sleep at night, read your recent dreams from the past few days, and it's going to activate the dream memory. Right? So this is the first practice for any kind of dream or astral experience, just to get in touch with this dream body of consciousness. And you'll probably be surprised at what experiences you're having at night. Yeah. Usually if you haven't experienced dreams for a while, I don't know, some kind of trauma or some kind of thing that you've not experienced for a while. I met I used to know an elderly lady who didn't remember dreams for like 20 years, so I helped her. Eventually she remembered her dream, and it was a dream. She was crying in the dream, and it was a dream of her late husband who had died many years ago. And she was so grateful to have that dream, because she had some experience of seeing him again, but she also realized that she had so much trauma and so much pain inside that she didn't release yet. But through that dream of getting in touch with her dreams, she went through something that she could process something with her old husband that died. She didn't let go, or she didn't feel like she said goodbye. So you can see how dreams, this practice of dreams and just remembering them, not being conscious yet or anything, relate to the work on the ego and walking this vertical path, right? If we have so much trauma but we're not processing it, we're not walking this vertical path.